Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm DJ Batman here, and this is DJ Batman Unhinged. Where basically I'm just going to speak my mind and speak how I feel about things. But ultimately, try to get somewhere and, get your feedback as listeners and more. But anyways, one thing I wanted to start out with on this is a current situation that has gone on and is going to be happening, hopefully not, in California. But recently they have been talking about pushing a bill which currently, if it passes, will basically allow schools or many other institutions to basically be able to give a vaccine to a child without a parent's consent. Now, of course, they're saying it's for safety and stuff, but the problem is I'm not a parent myself, but the one thing I will say though is I think that's definitely not a good way to go, mainly because what's going to end up happening is either people are going to pull their kids out and start teaching them themselves, or start putting them in private schools, which I have no problem with that. To be honest, I believe people should get their kids out of schools anyway, because schools don't really care and they don't really help, teach kids anyway. Especially if you have learning disabilities like I had in school. They just don't care. But yeah, so basically, article here from ABC News. I will post a link in the description so you guys can look at for yourself exactly what I'm looking at and reading at, because I want to make sure that, everybody listening to me is getting the same information I am, and also knows where I'm getting my sources. So, but anyways, article here on ABC News is California bill will allow kids 12 and up to get vaccines without parents. It says only 5 other states allow minors to get vaccines without parents' permission, which I don't think is okay. Parents should be able to know what's going on in their kid's life. But it starts out by saying, a new bill in California will allow children to get vaccinated against diseases including COVID-19 without their parents' consent. Which, like I said, I disagree with. The parents should know what's going on in their kid. And then currently, kids in the state between ages 12 and 17 must receive permission from a parent or guardian to get a vaccine, unless it is to prevent a sexual transmitted infection, which I believe that's the way it should stay. Parents should always know what's going on in their kid's life, no matter what's going on, because, ultimately they got to take care of them, so they need to know. Because, let's say, for instance, they don't know something about the kid that the parents know, and they give the kid the vaccine and it ends up affecting them. Can the school or hospital or wherever that the kid got the vaccine, can the parents sue them? Is this bill going to allow people to be held accountable for something wrong going on and causing harm? Because I personally know a few people that have gotten the vaccine, only got one, mainly because they started getting side effects. They started feeling awful and weird, and they just weren't going to do it again. So, and this is the thing that people aren't taking into account, is that things can affect you. And the fact that the media and, our government and many other things is not really coming to the table and actually, telling us what's really going on. And that's the biggest thing that upsets me, is if somebody actually dies from the vaccine, I want to know. I want to know the exact rate. I want to know exactly how many. It's just like when it comes to these deaths, I want to know exactly what these people are dying from. I don't want to know that the fact that they had COVID in their system. For instance, I've been talking for many years before the pandemic about the suicide rate and how we need to do something about it because it's extremely high, and this pandemic has made it even worse. But I talked to a woman, and she told me that her husband last year, actually it was in 2020 because she mentioned this last year, so would have so it'd been 2020 when he did. But she told me that basically her husband blew his brains out, but because he had COVID in his system, they marked him down as a COVID death. And to be honest, that's messed up because then you're going to mess up the numbers for suicide, because now we're counting this person as a COVID death when they didn't die from COVID. They literally died from killing themselves. And this is the thing that bugs me is we got people that are, going around touting, oh, the suicide rate's gone down. Yes. If you actually do some research and digging, which literally requires a lot of work because they make it hard to get all the information. They don't put it all easy like they do with COVID. Literally, if you go on any search engine and type in death by COVID, it will literally give you like a full chart and everything right there on the front page. But if you type in, death by suicide, it literally gives you the suicide hotline number. Like, I'm trying to find information. I'm not telling you I'm trying to hurt myself. And that's the thing that irritates me. But the reason why the suicide rate has gone down is because it's mostly people over the age of 50 that it's been dropping with, and that's mainly because a lot of those people that have been dying from COVID were over 50 because they had underlying conditions, and because they had those underlying conditions, they died from COVID, which ended up, preventing them from taking their own life. But at the same time, we don't know if those people actually did take their lives, but because they had COVID in their system, they just counted as a COVID death. So, and that's the thing that really bugs me. But, ultimately it's like we need full transparency. If this pandemic is so bad and requires all these mandates, people forced to wear masks, to get vaccines, to have these passports, to be able to go places and do things, you gotta think to yourself, if we do all this, like, is it actually going to solve anything? And as far as I've seen, no. Because you got countries like Denmark who just recently announced that they're now getting rid of all restrictions, mandates, masks, vaccines. They're not forcing anybody to do any of that stuff anymore. The only thing that they're keeping in place for now is people coming in from another country and have to isolate, in a hotel room for like a week, but that's about it. Other countries are slowly starting to get rid of all this. But yet, you got countries like Australia who literally, is like abusing people, beating people up for not having a mask. Like, I don't know how many videos I have seen of somebody like in a mall and all of a sudden like 5 police start running toward them and start beating them with their batons. It's like, this is ridiculous. Seeing a parent getting beat up and abused in front of their child because they're not wearing a mask, or have a vaccine passport, or any of this other stuff. It's ridiculous. People are literally letting people get hurt over this virus. And I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not one of those people that says it's not real at all, because I do know it's real, okay? I do know it's killing people. But the problem is, it's killing people that are already sick. And this is the thing. Those are the people, if you're going to give a vaccine to, give it to them. And people will say I'm an anti-vaxxer because I'm not going to get the COVID vaccine, but it's because I don't trust it. I didn't get the H1 vaccine when it came out. The only vaccines I got were the ones I got when I was a baby and a child. That's it. Other than that, I'm not for, getting all these vaccines, because you know what? At this point, what's the point? We as humans live so long that at this point it's miserable. Like, if you have money and you have a good family and stuff, then yeah, living to a old age is great. But at the same time, it sucks because you're just falling apart. But anyways, sorry, my ADHD, I get kind of off track sometimes. But anyways, excuse me. But anyways, back to this article. It says, however, the new bill introduced Friday by State Senator Scott Wiener, such a horrible name, Democrat for San Francisco, and Richard Pan, Democrat for Sacramento, would allow Californians aged 12 and older to receive vaccines that meet specific federal agency criteria on their own. Under the bill, adolescents could get vaccinated as long as the shots are approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and recommended by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee. As of Wednesday, about 63% of Californians aged 12 to 17 are fully vaccinated, according to the State Department of Health, but at least 28% are not. And this is the other thing that bugs me. It's like, okay, so if the vaccine protects you from the virus and you're not going to get sick, then why does it matter for people that don't want to get vaccinated? Because isn't that their choice? You know, people go, yeah, but you need to get it so you can protect others. It's like, yeah, but I'm taking my risk. You should be fine. You're saying that you're not going to get as sick. You're not going to die from it because you got the vaccine. So then get the vaccine and let people live. Because to be honest, we try to control people too much. You know, and we have a lot of problems in this country that have been going on for decades. And a lot of these people I hear that constantly say, oh, I care about people and you need to get the vaccine, you need to wear a mask, you need to do this and do that to protect people's lives. And if you don't, then you don't care. It's like, bitch, come on. I've been trying to run a business to try to ultimately create a new way of doing things to help prevent and bring down the suicide rate in a very simple way. By just giving people a place to go to do things they want to do. Not some sports center or any of the other crap that places, especially my town, is now building. They're building some rec center, and it's like, rec centers is not what we need. We need places like wood shops, metal shops, you know, things where people can learn to make things, to create things, so they're not reliant on corporations and all these other things to get things they need. I mean, I've been doing 3D printing for almost 4 or 5 years. No, wait, let's see. 18, 19, 21, 22. Yeah, so about 4 or 5 years. And, you know, it's been great because I can basically make my own stuff. I can design it, print it, and make it, which is great. But, you know, if we want to bring the suicide rate down, we have to get people places where they can go to make things, create things. And we just don't have those anymore. Like, I go into my downtown, it's pretty much just bars. Like, just bars as far as the eye can see, you know, and then a few food places here and there, and then, you know, overpriced furniture, jewelry, and other garbage I don't need. You know, we got a couple comic book shops, but that's about it. You know, it's like we need gadget stores, electronics stores, pottery stores, you know, all that stuff where people can go do things. But then, of course, you know, people are lazy and they don't really want to go to those things because it requires work, and people don't seem to want to put the effort into things anymore for the things they care about. Because to be honest, I'm sorry, but if I had the ability right now to go somewhere, you know, and be able to work with some wood or some metal where I can maybe pay a small fee a year or monthly or whatever, or, you know, just maybe have it free, but you have to make stuff that you can sell or something. I don't know. Just figure something out. But, you know, if I had some place to go to make stuff, it'd be so much better, because then I could talk to other people that do the same thing, you know, make some friends, and boom. You know, out of your head, you're hanging out with people they have interest in. You can go do things together. So, but, you know, we I don't know. We're moving too far apart from each other, people. You know, I'm all for VR. I'm all for, like, VR worlds and stuff, but this metaverse stuff and everything is getting too much. We're going to end up pushing ourselves further and further away, and things are going to get worse and worse. I mean, they're literally using this this pandemic, or how I call it, the Feardemic. But it's to use it to keep fear so that they can keep the control. So they can slowly take away our rights and our ability to basically live. I mean, uh, it's just, and I know a lot of people will say I'm crazy and, oh, I'm probably just some right winger or QAnon, which I get all the time, which is funny. But no, I don't agree with any of them or the Democrats or any of the sides. Mainly because at the end of the day, they all are going to say whatever they want, whatever they can to get into office, and at the end of the day, do nothing. And if they do anything, they fuck it all up. So, which is depressing because, we're losing children at a higher rate than ever before, especially when it comes to suicide rate. Like, literally, since this pandemic started, okay, and the number's going to get higher now that we're in another year, but since this pandemic started, 3 to 4 times more people have killed themselves under the age of 35 than have died of COVID. And I get people all the time telling me, oh, you need to shut the fuck up. This has nothing to do with COVID. The suicide rate matters, but we're dealing with COVID. And personally, when more children have ended their own life than have died from a disease that is being said to be so bad that the entire world needs to be vaccinated. We need to wear masks. We need to stay 6 feet apart, wash our hands 24 hours a day. It's like I'm all for staying clean and all that, but at the same time, you have to remember something. All right? We, as a species, are too clean. We always need to be in, like, bleach clean areas, and that's the other reason why diseases spread so fast. It's because we don't let our immune systems build up anymore. We're so scared of dirt and grime and everything to the point where we literally, like, bleach our skin almost, just to stay clean, which is not healthy for us as a species, and this is the reason why I believe diseases and stuff spread so quickly is because, it's because people aren't letting their immune systems, fight anything. They constantly every year get the flu shot. I literally haven't gotten the flu shot in like 20 years. And I've only been sick twice. Twice. And I've been around sick people all the time. I haven't even gotten COVID yet. As far as I know, I mean, I could have gotten it, but I've never had any symptoms. So, but, I build up my immune system. I'm not scared of every little thing, So, but yeah. Oh. But if anybody has any thoughts and, wants to have any opinions on what I have to say so far, just write in the comments and, I'll try to get to you. I'm eventually want to let everybody know I'm eventually going to set up a number to call here eventually. I think sometime next month. So you guys can call in and people can ask questions or have conversations. I also want to eventually try to get people on here that are, part of things like artists and other things to come on and talk about the things they care about. And basically, ultimately, get to know people. I'm gonna reach out to the artist who was trying to make a statue for here in my town. Basically to honor the firefighters. But a lot of people in my town seem to have an issue with it. So, which is just annoying because, like, I get the whole piece of the art, but other people are just looking at it as bad. Like, if anybody looks up the Alameda fire, we had a huge fire which pretty much burnt down one of our towns. And it was actually caused by Antifa. They say it was due to electrical and whatever, but it wasn't. It was Antifa members starting fires because I was listening that night because I was literally watching the fires get closer and closer to me, and I had no way of leaving, and I wasn't going to leave my cat or my late soulmate's fish, behind. There's just no way I'm going to do that. So, I'm not going to abandon them. I'd rather go with them. But I'm listening to the CB, and I'm listening to them talk to each other. The firefighters and the policemen and stuff. And I'm hearing reports along our pathway, along our creek that goes from town to town. Fires are starting, miles apart from each other. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that these are all electrical fires. One of the spots that the fires went off is at a gazebo, which irritates me that it's burnt down because it was a place that me and my late soulmate used to go to, a few times when we went out to Central Point for a few things. But, and then also it was a place that me and a friend would go and stop before we went out because we would always take the path out there, when we weren't in school. So, which just sucks because the entire section is just burnt down. But, there's no electrical lines in that area. So there's no way it was electrical fire, from the electrical poles. So, but it just really irritates me that the way they trying to cover up who actually started it so that, but seriously, like, the one thing I'll tell you though is the guy who did do it. He was in the courtroom, and they literally had to take him out the back because a lot of people from the town heard about he was there in the courtroom, and they were all waiting outside for him. So, I mean, I wouldn't blame them. I mean, hundreds of people, thousands of people lost their homes, lost everything they cared about, and a few people died in it because, they didn't know there's a fire. They're probably sleeping because it was at nighttime. So, and it just... But anyways, I'm getting off track. Sorry. But let's get back to this. So it says there are nearly 1 million teenagers in California who are not vaccinated against COVID-19, and that jeopardizes their own health. It makes our school less safe, Weiner told ABC News. Oh, my God. Oh, that is a bad way to write that. That just... Weiner told ABC News. So apparently some Weiner told ABC News that... I'm sorry. I know that's very childish humor, but I don't care. I'd rather enjoy life than be, anal about everything. But anyways... And it says a lot of these teenagers would like to get vaccinated, but their parents either won't let them or their parents aren't making the time to go with them to get vaccinated. He added this legislation would allow teens to protect their own health and to get vaccinated against COVID-19, against the flu and other serious diseases. See, it's like the flu shot. It's like whatever. It's like if you really want to get a flu shot, go get it. It's really not going to make things better. It's actually going to, not let your immune system fight it. It's like, to be honest, I've actually gotten the flu more than twice, but it was like more like 24-hour thing or less. It's like I literally feel like garbage for like hours, and then I go throw up, and then literally the moment I'm done throwing up, I literally feel like $1,000,000. I feel okay. The best way to describe it is I go from feeling like 5% charge to within seconds being at 100% charge. It's literally like I don't feel like garbage anymore. I feel like I can go for a run now. And it's weird. But yeah, it's just because I let my immune system build up and, I let it fight things. I don't constantly throw, pills and down my throat to solve a problem. And that's the other problem is that people take too much penicillin and other things, and they're not letting their body fight. Like, when I get migraines, yes, I'm going to take something before it starts so I can stop it. Because when migraines start, those things are hell. But, it's just... But anyways. Where was I? Washington, D.C. currently allows minors to receive vaccines on their own starting at age 11. San Francisco also allows kids age 12 and older to receive COVID-19 shots without parental consent when consent is unavailable. Additionally, 5 states allow minors to get vaccinated without parental consent. Alabama allows teens to receive vaccines on their own starting at age 14. Oregon at 15, and Rhode Island and North Carolina and South Carolina at age 16. Elizabeth Tobin Taylor, an associate professor of health services policy and practice at Brown University, said these laws are often the result of a mature minor doctrine, which allows minors to give consent provided they can show they are mature enough to make decisions on their own. I mean, shit, most adults don't even be mature. I mean, maturity is a really tough thing to determine. You know, I mean, I really don't even think anybody's really mature. Because, I mean, to be honest with how old the human race is, I mean, we're not really that mature as a species. I mean, we still allow people to die en masse, you know, just so that some of us can enjoy nice things. Like, here's the thing. I'm not against people having money. I'm not against people having nice things, okay? Everybody has that right. All I'm saying is that people need to determine what they actually need, because we literally spend money on garbage we don't need. I mean, how many people right now in the United States have rooms full of those Funko Pops? I mean, Funko Pops are cool, but look at them. They're everywhere, and there's so many of them. You know, and I know that sometimes, you know, things like that become worth money, and, you know, people are just like, you know, this is great, you know, this thing is, you know, I spent $20 on it, and now it's worth, you know, $2,000. You know, that's cool and all, but is it really worth it? We're wasting all that resources just to make these things. You know, it's like I do 3D printing, and, you know, I want to stop making a lot of stuff that I do, but right now it's like, you know, I got to keep money coming in. So, but, you know, I try to make fun things, cool things, things that will hopefully last a long time, you know. And also, if it needs to be done, you know, can be recycled. So, because it's just PLA plastic, which means you can throw that, you know, in any recycling center, and they'll recycle it in no time. You know, it won't be very difficult. But anyways, let's see here. It says the idea is there for minors that minors that might be quite mature at age 12 or 14 and have the capacity to their own decisions. She said ABC News states have recognized that there are situations where we don't want to have somebody make a decision at just 18. Dr. George Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, said most kids of the age of mature enough to understand medical information that is given to them. Yes, a lot of people can understand medical stuff given to them when you actually explain it to them properly without, you know, using ridiculous words. But, let's see here. It says, when you're dealing with kids in medical care, you want to be able to give them with some graduated anatomy about their health, he told ABC News. So let's see, vaccine tracker. All right. So here, okay, check this out. All right. We lose each year at this point around 50,000 people to suicide. Good majority of that is people that are under 35. All right. Which is an extremely high number. And thousands are veterans and other things, but But check this out. So people always keep pushing in the face about how many deaths there have been to COVID. Now I'm looking right here at this chart on this article, which you guys will be able to check for yourself in the description once this video goes up to be rewatched or re-listened to, not rewatched. This is a podcast. But anyways, but it says right here, so far for cases, okay, 74 million. 74 million cases. All right? 74 million. All right? And then it says for deaths, that's 879. Actually, I'll say 880,000. So let me do this real quick. So if we do 74 million divided by, let's see, it said 880,000. No, I think I did that wrong. Oh, wait. Percent. All right, no, I'm not doing that right. But anyways, the point of the matter is, if you look at how many people that have had cases, okay, which is 74 million, and then less than 1 million people have died, okay? That's the thing that irritates me. And when you look at the deaths, which the CDC themselves have reported that 74% of people, I mean, it's probably changed since last year, but 74% of people who have died of COVID so far were obese. And I know a lot of people say, yeah, but they were unvaccinated. And I go, that doesn't matter. Because the fact of the matter, they were unhealthy. They were obese. Their body was already dealing with issues. And then the virus found a way in and it took them down. I mean, there's a lot of people, I've talked to people that know neighbors that were obese, were fully vaccinated, and still died of COVID. Why? Because they were extremely unhealthy. And because they were extremely unhealthy, it was causing issues. So, ultimately the virus took them down. But yeah, so, and then, fully vaccinated is about 211 million. But ultimately, though, 74 million cases, but only 880,000 have died. And those are people with comorbidities. I hope I said that right. Every time I hear that word and I try to say it, it always comes out wrong. So if you want to yell at me in the comments, go right ahead. But yeah, so it's like, the percentage-wise is extremely low. Just there are more people right now dying of other things than by COVID. And our government is pushing this stuff, trying to force, vaccine passports. I mean, come on, man. There is a Holocaust museum in Illinois that requires you to show your vaccine passport before entering. The irony in that is extremely high. I mean, come on. Literally going into a museum where the people that abused the Nazis literally were asking for papers. It's just... And of course, people are going to get mad at me for bringing up the Jews and vaccines and passports and all that stuff. But here's the thing that people keep forgetting. People remember the end of the war, the whole thing of the camps and, the murderers and all the other stuff. But that's what most people only think about. But they forget that there was a whole beginning part. where they slowly started pushing propaganda that Jews had diseases and you need to stay away from them, and that you need to carry a passport so that people would know that if you're a Jew or not, so if they could let you in or not. I mean, come on, people. Nobody that brings up what the Nazis did and what's currently going on is skipping straight to the camps, okay? Nobody's doing that. Nobody. They're talking about the beginning, the very beginning of what was happening. And this is the problem. And then people get offended when you bring it up. But this is the problem. People need to stop being offended when we're repeating history. Okay? When other countries are lifting all their restrictions. But you got countries like Canada right now. And I stand with the truckers. I stand with all truckers because truckers don't get enough. I have a friend who's been doing trucking for almost 15 years. And he still doesn't get paid enough for what he does. He should be paid a hell of a lot more than what he gets now. He's doing backbreaking work that most people would not want to do. And yeah, I know people say, "Oh, driving is not that hard." Yeah, it is when you have to drive for hours, when you're given a certain amount of time to get to your destination, and if you don't get there, you can get dinged, or if you get too early or too late, you get dinged. And they track everything you do. They got cameras on board, so if anything goes on, they can monitor. It's absolutely ridiculous how much stress truckers go through. So I definitely stand with the truckers in Canada. They definitely have my support because you know what? These mandates are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on. People should not have to be forced to get a vaccine to be able to do their job. I mean, there are people saying that Biden is not acting dictator-ish. He's not necessarily a dictator, but he's kind of got similarities, which is trying to force the American people, and he has been trying, but the Supreme Court has kept pushing him down. And other courts in different states have took it down as well, but said that he cannot, at the federal level, force people to get vaccinated, which I don't think anybody should be forced to get vaccinated. People should always have a choice, and that's the thing. Now, I know most people who are against the COVID vaccine are not necessarily against vaccines. Like, they'll get the smallpox, polio and stuff like that, because those things are actually harmful and can do major damage, and there's major information on it because it killed at an extremely high rate. But again, with this current virus, you got like 2% chance of dying. That's not that high. Smallpox is like a hell of a lot higher than that. We're talking at like people dropping left and right. Okay, I haven't seen once me going to a store or anything, anybody just dropping because they had COVID. Now, I know people have seen videos and stuff of China, but that's because China straight up was murdering their own people to bring their numbers down. I mean, come on, people. China straight up murdered their people. I mean, one of the phone companies literally put out a report, back in late 2020, saying that 20 million of their customers just disappeared. They stopped using their service. Their phone no longer is working or anything. And that's really suspicious that 20 million phones just magically, just stop. Now they have said that they have a certain percentage, amount of people that, stop using their phone, but not at this high rate, especially during this pandemic. And of course it's China, and, Winnie the Pooh is going to do whatever he wants. So I probably just got myself censored in China, but oh well. But anyways, but yeah, so the thing of the matter is, when you look at the numbers, and you look at how many have died from who've gotten it. It's not that bad of a disease. We should still take it seriously, but we shouldn't be taking it to the extremes that they want it, where we have to stay 6 feet, where we have to wash our hands 24 hours a day, get the vaccine, masks, all that stuff. Kids are literally being affected by this. They're being forced to wear this mask, especially young kids who are learning how to speak and all that. They need to be able to see the mouth of the teacher, to see how they're saying things, what they're speaking, because you got to remember, kids are very observant. I'm still very observant now, and it kind of creeps people out sometimes, but I can't help it. I like looking at everything. I'm just basically, I'll just say for now, without getting into it, because that's a whole nother conversation, but I didn't necessarily have a chance to be a kid. I was to a degree, but a lot of it was kind of stifled, so it kind of translated over to me being older, so I kind of have some aspects, like being observant of everything. So, but anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get back to this article, But anyways, we got here, if the bill passes, California would become the state with the youngest age for children to get vaccinated on their own without permission from the adult. It will serve as an example for other states. Benjamin Fred. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, if anybody wants to make fun of that in the comments, go right ahead. You have all rights. Might you make a t-shirt out of that? Which, by the way, if anybody would like to purchase any of my t-shirt designs, I will have my link in the comments, so you can check them out. I got lots of different designs. I'm always putting up new stuff. I'll also have a link to my 3D printing store, so you can pick up any of my 3D prints that I design. I also do vinyls and more. So, but anyways, Benjamin said, California has often been on the cutting edge of legislation and has become law in other parts of the country. So it will certainly be an exemplary? I don't know. I'm not very good with words. Doing the best I can. In that area, and it will serve as a model for other states, particularly as we see the numbers of kids vaccinated grow. However, not everyone is in favor of the bill. No shit, Sherlock. You know who it is? You know who's fighting this bill? The millionaires and the billionaires. They are out to destroy this country. We need to become a socialist nation. The millionaires and the billionaires. But anyways. To be honest, I'd rather take advice from Tally and wanna get high? Don't forget to bring a towel. Alright, it just seems like this is part of this ongoing war against parents by some Democratic elected officials. California Republic Assemblyman? Yeah. James Gallagher? Yeah, that's right. James Gallagher. Now I'm expecting him to be carrying around a giant mallet, smashing watermelons. And anybody who gets that, you are awesome. Anybody else, you suck. And you need to look him up. Gallagher was awesome. Anyways. Told ABC News, this bill is not about letting children make some sort of decision in a vacuum whether or not they want to get vaccinated. It's about eliminating parents from that decision-making process, which is the problem. You're literally telling parents they have no right to make a decision what is injected in their child. Now, I've always run into people that say, parents' responsibility should be, to get their kids vaccinated. But even at that, it still should be a decision. Like, people should be able to look up the pros and cons, what's good, what's not, and if it's beneficial. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, it just makes me irritated. So yeah, that's how it makes me feel, okay? But anyways, he described the bill as a slippery slope, which is what it is, and said it could lead to kids having autonomy to take other medications without parental consent. What other drugs, what other things could a child be able to decide at school, or other things without their parents' consent? Gallagher said. Until California law, minors aged 12 and older are already allowed to be vaccinated against hepatitis B and human papillomavirus, HPV. Hope I said that right. And to other birth control and treatments for STIs, mental health disorders, and substance abuse. Yes, but a parent should still be a part. That's the whole point. A parent should still know what their children are doing. Because it's like, what's the point of being a parent? Or it's like, at this point, if they're going to let children just make their decisions, then the government should be giving and taking care of these children. That's what I'm saying. Because at this point, they're basically, the government's just saying, yeah, we're going to let these children just make all these decisions, and if a side effect happens, because, children aren't very good at knowing everything about what's going on with them. I mean, come on, man. When I was like 12 to 17, in between there, doctors asked me, what's wrong? How you feeling? It's like, I didn't know how to describe it right. I didn't know what to say. Now that I've gotten older, it's much easier to understand, what to tell a doctor, what they need to know to help you with the situations you're dealing with. But, it's just... But anyways. Let's get going on. Oh, not much more. All right. So, oh, God. I really hate this guy's last name. All right. I already know some people are going to laugh at this. And I say, laugh away, because it's funny. But Wiener said he doesn't believe the new bill would curb parents' input when it comes to their child's health, because most teens speak to their parents when it comes to making medical decisions, which is how it should be. Parents and kids should always be open with each other. Parents should be willing to listen to their kids without punishing them. Because this is the biggest problem, is that the reason why a lot of kids want to do this is because too many parents are too strict. You don't need to hit your kid in any way to teach them anything. And I know a lot of people will be mad at me for saying that, but I don't care. You do not need to hit them in any way to get them to listen. Okay? You need to be open with them and tell them the truth. And also stop lying to them. I mean, here's the biggest thing that irritates me. This is a little off subject, I know. But it just irritates me how parents will lie to their children about things like Santa Claus. And I already know people are writing in the comments, but that's to keep them, so they can still be kids. Telling kids Santa Claus isn't real isn't going to ruin their childhood, okay? Telling them it's based on a real guy and the reason why we started celebrating it, to be honest, would be better for children than telling them this fairy tale garbage of some magical being that lives in the North Pole and has flying reindeer and a bunch of little people building toys all year round. Which at this point would be electronics, because no kid really wants toys as much. They want iPads and stuff. So, it's like we have to stop with these fairy tales. It's just... It causes problems. People think that they should be treated a certain way because they saw it in a movie. We have to remember people A lot of movies lie to us. You don't need to wait a half hour to an hour to get into a pool after eating. But anyways, it's off subject, but that's what my brain does. But anyways, we're going to finish this. The vast majority of teens, even if they have the ability to get a vaccine, will talk to their parents about the issue, Weiner said. Oh, God, I hate his last name. I want to laugh so much. We want parents to be involved in their kids' health care. And I am confident that many, many teens will talk to their parents about it. Good. It's just how it should be, like I said. He continued, sadly, there are some teens who are not in the position to talk to their parents about it. For whatever reason, they can't have those conversations, and in those situations, the teenagers should be able to protect their own health. Yes, but at that point, then it says that something needs to be done so that the parents and the kids can get along and actually have conversation. But ultimately, the kids shouldn't be sitting there guilt-tripping these parents into being allowed to get the vaccine just because of what somebody says on the TV. Because again, anybody under the age of 35 is far more likely to kill themselves than to die of COVID. All right? Far more likely. And that's the thing that irritates me, is like, people keep saying if kids get vaccinated, then they won't die of COVID. They're not dying of COVID anyway. I mean, if they are, it's really, really small of a number. You know, I don't want anybody to buy it all. Oh, man. I swear. I don't want anybody to die at all. All right? But the problem is you have to weigh, you know, what's going on and what things have been ignored. I mean, we've ignored suicide since 1999. It's gone up 34% since 1999. The other time in history that it was the highest was in the 50s. And starting in the early 1950s, it was around, I think it was like 18%. So around there. And it spiked all the way up to 31%. All right, up until the 1955. And then going into the last bit of the century, or that decade. Wait. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Brain's not working anymore. But going down into the end, you know, going into the 1960s, the suicide rate plummeted. So within one decade, it went up and then back down. See, our suicide rate has been going up steadily, 1% every year since 1999. 1%. It hasn't been going down. And again, the only reason numbers are currently down is because the people that would have normally killed themselves had died of COVID because they were already unhealthy to begin with. And then a lot of people who did kill themselves because they had COVID in their system, they were then considered a COVID death. And that's the thing that irritates me. I want real numbers. I don't want people who had it in their system. I want people who actually died of COVID. Okay? But anyways. He continued. Wait. Nope. I already read that. All right. We're on the last few bits here. Benjamin said the idea of providing teens with the autonomy, I don't know why I said autonomy, is not new or radical and could actually help teenagers think critically and analytically. Well, I mean, come on, man. Schools don't even teach kids to think critically anyway. I mean, come on. Most of you will agree with me that schools, for a while, I'd probably say since the 80s, maybe 70s, hasn't really taught people anyway. It's just a place where you send people basically to get looked at and then taught how to be a machine and push a bunch of buttons, you know, in some manufacturing plant. So, you know, they don't even teach kids anyway. So it's like they're saying, oh, well, kids need to be, you know, more critical thinking. And it's like, maybe if schools actually taught kids to think critically in the first place, we wouldn't have problems. But they don't. And that's a problem. But anyways, last bit here. We do this a lot in other areas in our lives, he said. We give them driver's licenses as they are able to mature both emotionally and physically. I mean, come on, man. Most people don't even know how to drive anyway, even including adults. I mean, they hand driver's licenses out like candy. So, parents should think of this as part of allowing their kids to have more control over their health decisions making from a mental health and psychological perspective. This should be thought of as giving kids more responsibility, and I think overall it's a good thing. No, I'm all about kids having responsibility. Just like I like the fact that there's a card now that instead of parents giving them money, in cash, they put it on the card, which then can build up as, into more cash and other stuff, and teaches them how to save and everything, which is good because, you need to know how your money works, how the system works before you get to that point where you're actually forced to get a job and pay bills and all that. So, but, oh man, it just, for anybody, has gotten this far, let me know what you think about what I just read. I know I stopped quite a bit, but it was only a 9-minute read. Took about an hour to get through. But, there's just a lot I have to say, and I just like to get it out. So, but, so far, yeah, this is going to be episode 1. So, I hope everyone enjoyed. I'm going to stop for now. Hopefully down the line, I will get people on to have conversations with. I'm going to hopefully, like I said, next month, to hopefully get a number so that people can call in and actually have a conversation. So, because I think that'd be really nice and fun. But anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed. And other than that, I'm going to go ahead and play a song to end up the show. And I will see everybody next time. DJ Batman, out.
Just looking through the sky.